there a certain amount of romanticness to going abroad and doing something you haven't done before? Going to a place that to you is exotic because it's so much different.
Okay, we got some mail. Frank's going out there right now. We're getting some kefir grains.
When we first went abroad, when I was in my mid-20s, I was running my businesses and we took a spur-of-the-moment vacation to Mexico. It was spur of the moment. We were in a hub city, Salt Lake City, and back then Mexico was going through a hyperinflation, and being in a hub city, we got a last-minute flight out for a one-week vacation. There was a foot of snow on the ground, and my business was seasonal. It was winding down anyway, so I said, hey, let's do this. Let's do something we haven't done before. And this, of course, was a tourist thing. It was really exotic and different. You know, you went from a foot of snow to like, I don't know, 90 degrees or something. And we went to Manzanillo, which is south of Puerto Vallarta. And back then, we got all-inclusive resort. Beautiful room in a resort, beachfront hotel with beautiful pools. It was high class. Beautiful park right here. Look at these flowers.
This is Madre Park.
I wonder if you get more of these blooms around this time of year.
Beautiful. Love the red one.
It reminds me of those trees in Carolinas. I forget the name of them. They bloom in the winter. They look just like that, really short trees. Buenos dias. So it was an all-inclusive resort there in Manzanillo, Mexico. And I forget what we paid. I really think, I was thinking earlier that, I don't remember. Maybe it was 300, maybe it was 500. But I really think it was 300 because I wanted to think
300 and something.
I wanted to think it was 500 because it sounds so cheap right now, but of course, you know, that's 30 years ago. That's what it would have cost. $300 each for all-inclusive. Includes airfare,
dinner, buffet,
all-inclusive, high-class buffets for breakfast, lunch, and dinner in a high-class resort beachfront place. The rooms were primo, I mean, top of the line. They were spacious. They were new.
Still got lizards in the room though. Little
lizard in the room. But of course you had the combination of the hyperinflation of the Mexican peso, and so for $300 we got all that. $300 each. It was $360 or something. And it was just for a week. And that was really exotic. Mexico has a lot of culture. We stayed in the resort, so it was safe. We did
rented a Jeep.
We did rent a Jeep, but it conked out on us. It was a $5 Jeep.
We went to Colima.
We rented a car and went to Colima, which was the only, probably pretty risky, but I was young and
It was very risky.
You know, I remember there was military on the road.
You weren't protecting us.
Well, I was in my 20s. What did I know? Yeah, I knew some stuff, but there's a whole bunch of other stuff I didn't know when you're in your 20s. And so I think it's that exoticness of going abroad, because we, you know, $360 each to a small business person. That was nothing even back then. And we took a week's vacation, and it was absolutely fabulous. Everything about it, except for the touristy pumping. The tourists pumping said there was 5 pools, and there ended up only being 1 or 2. I don't remember. So some kind of a little bit of exaggeration, but not in a really bad way, because everything turned out to be top of the line in that resort. I don't know what that would cost nowadays. Probably cost way more than that. But you know, that's one thing about people say, well, US dollar, hey, you know, let's go there, it's US dollar. But really, you're better off going where it's not US dollar. Let's especially if there's a currency devaluation. However, you would have to have a lot of diligence in that respect, because usually currency devaluations is accompanied by other problems, or I should say manifests other problems like increases in crime rates, maybe riots. It depends on what the political situation is and what's going on. Like Venezuela, you wouldn't want to go there. You wouldn't want to go there, you know. So, and remember, we stayed in the resort, so we didn't wander out too much, but we did rent a car though, and we went to Colima, which was
an eye-opener.
In retrospect, it wasn't a smart thing to do.
It shocked us.
It's not something I would do nowadays. Oh, by the way, they tried to steal my passport. Well, I rented a car, right? And it was a setup. She said she needed to keep my passport. So that's a lesson I learned early in my mid-20s. When you go abroad, do not surrender your passport to anyone for any reason. I developed a conviction at that moment when that was happening. But I was so naive and didn't know. She said, well, I have to keep your passport. I'm giving you a car. And I thought, well, that sounds reasonable, right? Well, when we came back with the car, after a couple days, whatever it was, all of a sudden, it's time to return my passport. And she says, it's in such and such an office over there. I split second was going to get out of the chair, and then I thought, wait a minute. That doesn't sound right. I gave you the passport. So I looked right at her and I was really stern with her. I said, I gave you the passport. I want my passport. I'm not leaving. I'm not getting out of this chair. I'm not leaving this room until you give me my passport.
You were like that even back then when you were a kid.
Yeah. She gets up out of her chair, sparsely furnished room, old furniture, walks up to the back of the room, opens the drawer, pulls out my passport. Because she was just a young gal, she didn't want to deal with this upset foreigner. Somebody, her boyfriend or somebody, had obviously instructed her, well, just do this, tell them that, you know. And then when they leave, you shut the door and you disappear. So, you know, traveling abroad is not a place to be naive. But us more mature folks, hopefully we've got enough experiences in our experience bank to avoid such things. Anyhow, that's the thing about US dollar. You know, if you can't be bothered to figure out the money, it's hard to do. You're on vacation, and it can be confusing if you don't think it through. But like here in Salinas, if you compare the kind of room, oops, I almost tripped. You gotta watch where you go. Vlogging, dangerous. We should probably go on that side, hon.
It's a selfie
More
stick,
sidewalk.
hon. It's a selfie stick.
No.
He's going too fast.
Better wait. We got a crosswalk here, but that's not gonna make
Oh,
this.
look at you're on camera. Is he going to stop?
No, he's on camera. He's gonna slow down. It's excellent. Well, I was on camera the other day, and they didn't. Okay, they didn't see the camera. They were far away.
He could have just been slowing down on the speed bump.
So if I was to compare the room, I don't know if you recall the room, but I recall the room. It was
huge.
It was huge. It was spacious.
I mean, we could do aerobics in there.
It had the white stucco walls like they do in Mexico, and beautiful furniture, and it had beautiful carving on the wall.
Balcony.
A balcony.
It was really nice. Big bed.
So if we were to compare that room today and try to rent something like that here, which they don't even have here because those were beautiful Saltillo tiles. The whole hotel was just Saltillo tiles and just really decked out.
Honey, it fits with the setting of tropical Mexico.
It was a tropical setting.
Mexico is so nice.
And even then you couldn't drink the water, and we were told, oh, Pepto-Bismol, Pepto-Bismol. Nowadays we know better. We wouldn't do Pepto-Bismol, we'd have to figure something else out. But even in the shower, if a little drop got in your mouth, that was it. You got the runs. Bad news. But again, we were there for a week. You leave, you go home. be back in shape. But if I was to compare the room to what we got to try to get something here, because a little tiny closet-sized room here is like $1,000 a month, or $900 or whatever. And then, of course, it's 30 years later, but you know, you've got the US dollar. If you try to get something really kind of spacious, you're going to pay thousands of dollars here per month. So I'm not saying that for any reason other to make a comparison, to say that the difference in the currency is actually a positive and something to be reckoned and considered. Now, back then, Mexico was as foreign as you could ever get for us. I mean, we hadn't been out of the country, although I was born and raised in Italy, but that was as a child. So, I mean, it was foreign and exotic, no question about it. Much more foreign and exotic than this. Not to downplay it. We're glad to be here. We're having a great day. The weather is superb here. We can walk on the street and it's morning, so it's fairly safe in the tourist zone. So we're enjoying it. Once you got weather, you don't need anything else. You don't even need the money from the post office that they owe you. I just wanted to show you guys what it would cost nowadays to get an all-inclusive one-week vacation, 6 days, 5 nights from Salt Lake to Cozumel, Mexico. It would be, the price was per person, so it's $14.50. It's about $3 grand. Okay, so $3 grand. Let's do a comparison. I know that back then, in the late 80s or 87 or so, the average household income was $25,000 per year in the U.S. and that's about $2 grand a month, or $2,100 a month, $2 grand a month. You know, the price to go to Salt Lake to the vacation was about under $700, all inclusive, room and everything. Just to figure this out, you know, I think it's important to figure this out, how things are different, because you have the devaluation of the Mexican peso, and I think that it made a big difference. And this is the difference that it made. The relationship of $700 to a $2,000 a month household income is about 30% of what the average income was. And the average household income now is like $4 grand a month, and $3,000 is 75% of a month's income in the States. So that's the difference, from 30% to 75%. And that's what a currency devaluation tells me.
This cheese is really good. This cream cheese on integral crackers. It's yummy. It's delicious.